Dystopia warning, obviously. Sorry. The reason I still have to put dystopia warning on is thanks to the Reform Party. And they're also the reason why my news today consists of the good, the mad and the ugly. And no, I'm not just talking about Farage. But first I'm going to start with a little bit of good news. Yeah, I know. Weird, isn't it? Parliament sat for the first time today, and amongst all the ridiculous pomp, ceremony and pantomime, Labour took their rightful place on the left as the party of government, and the Tories were relegated to the opposition benches, otherwise known as the tosser corner, where they belong. Actually, where they belong is prison. Give it time. In their first few days, Labour have absolutely powered it. It feels like we've got calm, competent people in charge again, and it's odd. It feels odd. I keep flinching, expecting every time I open up Twitter to find, like a government official rolling out of a brothel with their pants round their ankles. But so far it just seems to be calm, inclusive, competent leadership. His cabinet appointments are impressive and progressive. As a Miller fan, I'm obviously very happy that Ed Miliband has been appointed as our Energy Secretary, because he actually really gives a toss about stopping climate change. If I was him, I'd have rocked up to number 10, eating the biggest bacon sandwich I could find. Like dribbling down my chin, like brown sauce everywhere. Just doing that. James Timpson was surprisingly appointed as Prisons Minister. He is known as one of Britain's nicest and most decent employers, and he gives jobs to ex-offenders to help them get back on their feet. For years, our criminal justice system has needed progressive reform. Other countries have a more innovative approach and a much lower reoffending rate. After 14 years of the Tories, our prisons are on their knees. And in the case of Wandsworth, so are some of the staff. Angela Rayner was made the Minister for Levelling Up, Housing and Community, so we're going to have a housing minister that's actually lived in social housing. And Bridget Phillipson, we're going to have an education secretary that's actually had free school meals. Britain has its first ever female chancellor, who has already set out targets for building houses and lifted the onshore wind ban. They've also scrapped the Rwanda policy, called for a ceasefire and outlined plans to renationalise the railways. Wales is a Tory-free zone, and so is Cornwall. That's the power of tactical voting. And David Lammy has already started as Foreign Secretary to realign with our European friends by looking to sign a security pact. I mean, how dare they, be this progressive? That's not very red Tory of them, is it? Huh? In short, the light at the end of the tunnel has been switched back on. We have a record number of state-educated ministers. Out of 25 cabinet members, only one went to private school. The rest, 92%, went to a comprehensive school. 6% of children in the UK go to private school. So now we have a cabinet and a government that's representative of the whole of the UK and not just the poshos. Keir Starmer's going with the Gordon Brown approach, building a government of all the talents. And we have over 60 LGBT plus MPs in Parliament, the most representative in the world, and the highest proportion of people of colour and women that have ever been represented in Parliament. Now, I hope that good news is going to carry you through to the next bit, because I need to talk to you about reform. This is where things get particularly mad and ugly, although my harshest critics would say that would have started at the beginning of my video. But fuck them. Let's start with Mark Matlock, shall we? That Pillsbury dough wanker is the Reform candidate that was at the centre of a Twitter storm yesterday. Reform have been in a position where they've had to actually prove that their candidate is real and not AI. Watching this all unfold online has been like watching, like Pinocchio, except with more lies. Got that bellend going, I'm a real boy, I'm a real boy. I had been feeling bereft, and I've not really known why since Labour won the election. Was it because we'd all had an objective that we'd achieved after 4 long years of hell? But no, I realised that the thing that was going to be possibly missing from my life was getting to roast and destroy right-wing tossers. And then up popped Reform. I've got a feeling they're going to give me plenty of material over the next 5 years. Because what really does bring me joy is ripping right-wingers new arseholes, yeah. And I don't know if Keir Starmer's going to give me much material, on the accountability front. He's running around like a mad hippie at the moment, talking all about alignment and inclusion and diversity. I mean, Richard Tice, the chair of Reform, doesn't even know the difference between climate and weather. This guy did reveal himself on GB News as being real, but he's not the only one. Oh no. There's thought to be up to 50 Reform candidates that are coming under fire. Safe to say Reform have strenuously denied this, and I'm not saying that as any kind of legal imperative. Sue me, Tice, you prick. All you'll get is fluff and buttons, mate. I'm saying that because they've got form for trying to sue people for disagreeing with them because free speech. This article by Byline Times outlines the saga very well. The allegations are that Reform have fielded many ghost candidates or phantom candidates, not real candidates. This could have made them thousands in public money, otherwise known as short money. There are many candidates that nobody has seen, that have no online presence whatsoever. Now, paper candidates are common. Yeah, they're candidates that don't campaign, but they're there just to provide a presence for the party. But I'm amazed by some of the content of this article and the changes that Johnson's made. Did you know that parliamentary candidates are not required to show ID when they're applying to stand? But we all have to use it now to vote, don't we? Oh, and how did that turn out? Up to 400,000 people at least have been disenfranchised. And who were the worst affected? People of colour. Twice as many people of colour were not believed to be the people on their ID. Only 60,000 voter authority certificates issued. If this number from the study was applied to the whole of the UK, it could be up to 850,000 people disenfranchised. Johnson brought in photo ID for us, while simultaneously taking over the Electoral Commission and defanging it so it can't prosecute or investigate anyone, because the Tories were angry at the Electoral Commission for investigating vote leave fraud. And who were the Reform Party previously? The Brexit Party. So all the Electoral Commission can do now is tell you to go to the police. Returning officers are legally barred from investigating candidates. And even if the candidate doesn't exist, officials must accept them at face value. How do you accept the invisible man at face value? Reform are denying it, saying that all of their candidates are real. Prove it then, dickheads. I'd assume if there's nothing to answer, you'll have no problem doing that, yeah? That's not where it stops for Reform. Over 130 Reform candidates ignored Electoral Commission rules about anonymous donations. As of July the 1st, they'd raised over 99 grand from morons. And they used a crowdfunding source that allows donors to be anonymous and give money from abroad. One of his mate Putin chipped in. You know, Putin, the guy that Farage refers to as his political hero. The guy that yesterday bombed a maternity hospital and a children's hospital that was treating kids with cancer. That's your patriot's hero, Reform voters. Oh, and not just that, no. 41 Reform voters were friends on Facebook with Gary Rakes, who sees parliamentary democracy as an obstruction to be replaced with a dictatorship. Oh yeah, and they had old Swiss Tony there, a candidate who had previously urged people to vote for the BNP, but they're not far right, are they? Speaking on Peston, Richard Tice said, poshly, "It's a total fabricated lie that is nothing short of defamatory, libelous and utterly outrageous." I'm sure he'll have no problem proving it then. You can have checks and balances now, mate, yeah. Especially under a Starmer government. It's not like the old lot. It's been a bad few days for the far right, hasn't it? I mean, France broadly rejected the far right in their election. Britain saw sense, finally. In his first speech, Starmer referred to a sunlight of hope, and it does feel hopeful. It has felt hopeful over the last couple of days, I must admit. But as he also said, they will be judged on their actions and not their words. And if they don't deliver, they've got the far right snapping at their heels, and whatever mad incarnation of the Tories comes next. Talking of which, I'm going to be talking about the National Conservatism Conference tomorrow. Wish me luck. Now I'm going to go look at a bunch of Tories in a conference centre that is apparently, so far, refusing to set fire. I wonder how many people Suella Braverman has eaten so far. I think her previous record was 9. Until next time. I've literally just realised I don't have to say fuck the Tories anymore.